Hi everyone, good morning. Welcome to 2016 R8 LMS Cup. And we are now in Shanghai. It's been the 5th year of this cup, just like years before. This year we have 6 stops. After Shanghai, we'll go to Thailand, Taiwan, Malaysia, South Korea, and the year finale will come back to Shanghai again. So very exciting. Please stay tuned. And also for this new year, we have new drivers, new circuits, and also new cars. So now we have Audi R8 LMS GT3 cars, which has won over 100 races all over the world. So yesterday in the qualifying, Martin Rump, a very young driver, won the pole position. So he will start in the first place today. So we have new drivers and older drivers. So who will win? Let's stay tuned.
Hello, Ni hao, guten Tag, and welcome to the Shanghai Audi International Circuit. It is an absolutely superb, exciting day. We've got these brand new cars, and as we go on satellite around the world, and we are global internet streaming, so welcome all the new viewers wherever you may be sitting and watching this superb sport. This is Asia's premier GT series. We are going to be in for a lot of fun, and to guide us through all the rounds, as I say, we're here in Shanghai. We go to Buriram, Thailand, Malaysia, Korea, Taiwan and China, and my rear gunner for the whole season is Sean.
Not sure I want to be your rear gunner, Graham Harvey, but that's fine. Thank you very much for the introduction. Very excited to be here, very excited for the start of the 5th season of the Audi R8 LMS Cup. Very big season this year, of course, the all-new second generation 2016 Audi R8 LMS. You see Rahel Frey, familiar colours, the green car of Castrol, of course, but very unfamiliar in the shape of the car. We'll take a closer look at the car during the course of the weekend, but before we do that, before we get things underway, we will take a look back at the 2015 season and how it played out.
Start in Shanghai.
Feeling confident after good preparation over the winter.
And Ralph Rice on the inside. Wow! First blood, Alex Young. Away we go. Oh, that's gonna hurt. We're riding on the bumper, that's close. Taiwan. They had a fast and furious gang up. Back in action. Oh, that's close. Ouch, that's gonna hurt. Riding on the bumper, look at that.
Sometimes you just go take the points.
Malaysia. Alex Young takes the inside line and leap in. He collides there with the 8 car. Round 9 of the Audi R8 LMS Cup. Japan, the land of the rising sun. First turn, Marchini though, Alex out of span. Marchini's going to make it stick. Get him up on the wall, sparks fly literally. Marchini knows he's nearly home. It's the Shanghai Showdown. Alex Young careering away. Ralph Wright. There with Alex home. Oh, it's just lost the back. Over the line, Young has one hand on the trophy.
At the end, only came down to 1 point, huh? So,
And if you thought 2015 was exciting, get ready for this new season. Can Alex Young, defending champion, break all records? He's on a three-peat, 3 championship titles in a row. That's what he's going for this season, 2016. It all starts here at the Shanghai Audi International Circuit, and here's Sean to talk you through it. The 5.5 kilometre lap.
Hermann Tilke designed Formula One circuit, of course, renowned by the long straights and tight lead-in corners, of course. Clockwise rotation, turn 1, 2, 3 complex, very, very technical, a lot of contact. Long run down to turn 6 at the opposite end of the circuit, then back towards the pits. Through turn 7, 8, 9, you run through turn 10, will set you up for the second sector of the lap. So you want to get through turns 11, through the carousel, 12, 13, that long straight, 1.17 kilometres down to turn 14, turn 15, turn 16, the final left-hander, and you're home. So that is the length of the circuit. You can see the cars on grid. Of course, we have a rolling start for the first of the races. So now we're into Sophie in pit lane. She's down there with René Koneberg, the director of Audi Sport Customer Racing Asia.
Hi, Renee. Welcome to the show. And the weather seems to be better than yesterday, so we are so happy to see lots of familiar faces. And could you please introduce to us what's new this year?
This year we have actually the new generation of vehicles, of cars. The car was developed in the factory right at the beginning with the road car production, also the development. So we have a completely new generation of vehicles, the vehicles lighter. We also have new generation of drivers, and you saw they shook up already during the qualifying quite a lot. Yeah, we have the Formula Master champion here, Martin Ramp. We have from the TT Cup the champion. So the young drivers will really increase actually the competition. And also what is new, we have the new service level teams. That means KCMG and Phoenix Asia joining Absolute Racing. So we have 3 service teams. So a lot of news which we brought to the Audi R8 LMS Cup for this season.
Yes, of course, and we're very looking forward to see what the new can do to all the drivers and to do the series and make it even more competitive than ever. So everyone, please sit back, relax, and enjoy our race. Back to our commentators.
Thank you, Sophie. And one of the joys of this series, it's always evolving. Audi are never sitting on their laurels. It's always something new. There's new things going through each season, and that's what makes this series absolutely superb. There you can see the getting ready, of course, for the first race. There's 13 laps, so it's about 30 minutes, and we'll be seeing on the grid Martin Rump and Yuichi Nakayama. They'll be on the front row.
It is going to be a very interesting year, and of course, as you say, Graham, the new car is a big development. When the first generation Audi R8 was introduced, 2006-2007 development, it was very much an adaptation of a road car because it was the very early stages of GT3 competition worldwide. So most manufacturers tended to modify their existing road-going car. Since that time, many of the cars competing in GT competition have adapted to become more of a track-style car or a race car. So very much the second generation Audi R8 LMS has a great heritage of race wins, 300 race wins for the first model, and that leads into a car that has very true bloodlines to a race car, and these drivers will tell you this is very much a race car, not so much a road car anymore. So a lot of things going on there.
Okay, as the grid starts to clear, Mark Dreyer is down with pole sitter Martin Rump.
Thanks, guys. Well, Martin, obviously dream start for you on pole position. What's going to be the strategy, particularly at the start here?
Well, I think the strategy is to have a good start and to get away with Yuichi, with my teammate, and then just build up consistency and try to not make mistakes. I think these conditions here are pretty dry, but not quite completely dry. So there's something to discover there, and to work up the speed.
Well, best of luck. All right, back to you guys upstairs.
Thanks, Mark. And what's so great about this series, well, other motorsport series are on the decline. You've got some series where you need 2 cars to finish a race. You've got, at the moment, a lot of the series are just like getting a bit boring, I think is the phrase. This is just re-energising everything. New cars, new series, new drivers. It is what people want to see. This is the best and probably the most prestigious GT championship in Asia.
certainly has had a strong history. We've seen some great results. Of course, look at the calibre of drivers. Champions Marchi Lee, Adley Fong, who's gone on to do other things. Alex Young, of course, back-to-back champion, ex-Formula One driver. And it's not just those guys that have been running at the front. We've seen a lot of drivers make cameo appearances. Some of the young drivers in the Asian region have come through and actually gone head-to-head with some of these blokes and won. That's how good and close and tight this competition's been. What we're not sure about what we're going to see this weekend is the new car. It's a little bit of an unknown, and unfortunately the weather in Shanghai has been atrocious the last few days, so most of the running has been done in the wet. So as Martin Rump quite rightly said, we're not really sure what's going to happen because we haven't had a good chance to run the car yet, feel for the dynamics, even the setup. It's a little bit of a guess. Of course, this car's been around for a little while. We saw it, of course, introduced at the Nürburgring 24-hour race last year. In fact, the anniversary, that's next week, the 2016 version. So that's when the car was introduced for the very first time, and it took victory on debut in an endurance race. So it's an adaptation of that we see here this weekend. In fact, Audi have built 100 of these cars since that time. So over 12 months, 100 of these GT3 cars. It'll go very quickly back to the older car, the first generation car, which was an adaptation of a road car. But it was a generation that was adapted from a 2007 model. This is very much the 2016 model, so there's so much new technology in this car, and we're going to be running the older cars without restrictors this weekend. I'll explain a little bit about that during the show. These GT3 cars, the new cars, the second generation car, are running as per the international rules that regulate how much air the car can take in through a restrictor. So it's a little bit like breathing through a hose pipe, if you like. That's how it restricts the air to balance out the performance of the cars. So these cars, the new cars, have come so far that their performance restricted to a level that's something like 60 brake horsepower. Means they match the performance of the Generation 1 car completely unrestricted. So there's a lot of advances in technology in the new 2016 model. As we get set for a start, Martin Rump heads down the front straight. As he said, he's got his teammate alongside, and they both did a very good job yesterday in what were pretty testing conditions.
And a true testament to these cars, just to show how competitive the field is, Alex Young, double champion, could only qualify 8th, which just shows the depth and the quality of the drivers in this series. And as you can see, Martin Rump, they're going on the long track, 5.5 kilometres. So wherever you are around the world, buckle up. This is going to be an absolutely fantastic 13 laps, 30 minutes of high octane action as these new cars will race in anger for the first time in the Audi R8 LMS Cup.
It'll be very interesting to see how these young drivers go. We've probably got the greatest depth of field for a very long time. Even some of the amateur drivers we watched last year, the top 3 from the amateur class have moved on to other things or retired for the season. And there's a new group of AM drivers that will come through. We saw Johnson Huang, who we saw a few times last year, very impressive in qualifying yesterday in the new second generation car. On screen, Marchi Lee in the very beautiful, in my view, personal view, the camo beige and brown bathing ape car. That's going to be one to watch too. And of course, he was a little bit further back in the order. 5th after Superpole, and right behind Alessio Picciarello, who was a bit of a star, if you recall, here not quite 12 months ago, at the end of the 2015 season. These young guys are really going to make their presence felt.
And let's not forget Martin Rump in the Audi R8 series. He's had 2 races around the Shanghai Audi International Circuit, and he's been in the points in both those races. He's actually claimed 10 points in 2 races, so he could race these cars. He's had 2 5th positions, and now he's on the front row. Yesterday it was a little bit of a lottery with all the rain, but he used his strategy well. He got out first on Superpole and gunned the first lap. He had a clear lap, which meant he could go as fast as he could, and as the rain continued to dampen the circuit, other drivers couldn't get a quicker time than him. So that was really well done with his strategy yesterday in Superpole qualifying.
Now, whilst there's been some changes over the ensuing months since the close of the 2015 season, one of them that hasn't, of course, is the standing start for race number 1. And the rolling start, sorry, I've got that in reverse order because it's always been a rolling start. Last year we introduced the standing start, so second race tomorrow, this afternoon rather, will be a standing start. This is a rolling start. So they have to be in formation, and they're just about ready to go as they come through turn 16. Graham, let's get this thing underway.
So Martin Rump, he just packs the field up. So we're just waiting to restart the 2016 season. Let's just see if they're all together. As Martin Rump moves, and it's race time here at the Shanghai Audi International Circuit, and the Audi R8 LMS Cup New Generation Motorsport in Asia is underway, and Martin Rump and Marci Li are 1-2 going into the yin-yang section. Here's Rahul Fry. She's been overtaken by the KCMG cars, I think, of Kisiel, and also there was Nakayama. So it looks like Kisiel has got up to third place. Rahul Fry is fourth, but it's Martin Rump and Marci Li coming out of the yin-yang section, going for turn 3. It's already bigger, it's already better, and it's totally badass here in the Audi R8 LMS Cup.
That was an amazing start. Nakayama really missed it completely. Something that he probably hasn't experienced before as Rahul Fray goes down the inside of that would be Kisiel, the Audi TT winner from last year. And what this is allowing Martin Rump to do, of course, is just get away. How good was the start for Marci Li? He's done this. He's one of the most experienced drivers in this field. Straight into position 2 as we see one of the cars further back having a spin. It looks like it's Jasper Tong. We're talking about young guy, 16 years of age. So this is all new to him, and he's had a little bit of bad luck on the opening lap. As you see, more battling. That's Alex Jung caught up in the fight there with Kisiel. That's a little bit further back, or is that in fact Nakayama? Oh, that's a very wide run. That's very difficult. Alex Jung really trying to protect his line there, and there's that Picciarello. Yes, on more contact between the young driver and the veteran, the reigning champion. As Frankie Cheng tries to come up the inside, there's not quite enough room there, and that's allowed KOU to slip up the inside in the Audi Korea car.
It's all kicking off here, and it's only not even one lap done here in the history books, and it's down the long straight here, 1.2 kilometers already off there. That was the in the Brazilian colors there, that was Rick Yun in Phoenix Asia Racing. He's now dropped down into last place, so one lap is nearly done. Martin Rump nicely controlling the speed there from Marci Li. Then it's Rahul Fry. After that is Yuichi Nakayama, who started in P2. After that, you can see that's the 8 car of Aditya Patel from Jan Kissel. After Jan Kissel is KOU, and I think Alex Jung is right behind as they go past the line. One lap done, it's Rump from Marci Li, Rahul Fry, Kissel, Aditya Patel, Nakayama, Jung, Alessio Piccarello, KOU, Frankie Chen, Jeffrey Lee, and Vincent Floriendo. Johnson Wang's P13, Sun Jun's P14, and Mark Chung is P15.
Frankie Cheng there battling a little bit further back. Alessio too has dropped further down the order. Of course, started off the second row. So that'll be disappointment for him, and banging doors with reigning champion Alex Jung. That's not a great way to start the season. Certainly that won't go down very well in Alex's book. He now has KOU all over the back of the number 1 car. We see now that is, in fact, KO on screen. He has got Frankie Cheng right behind him. So Alessio's managed to move a little bit further forward. 2 black cars. We will pick that up as the season goes on. They'll become more obvious. As you see the 2 KCMG cars, rather, immediately ahead of them. Jan Kisiel, the Audi TT winner, the young driver from Poland, holding down position number 4, immediately ahead of India's Aditya Patel. Of course, he won the last race here at the end of the 2015 season and be very keen to kick off his 2016 campaign with victory.
So we have Martin Rump, who's not won yet, in first place. Marci Li, he knows the track very well. He's had 11 races around here. He's won 2. He's been on the podium 9 times. Rahul Fry's been around the Shanghai circuit 5 times with 1 win and 4 podiums. So Martin Rump has 2 experienced drivers right behind him that can pace themselves. They've been through this before and they've won. So Martin Rump has got to keep his wits behind him. And down the straight, right behind them there is Yaki Nakayama. And right behind Nakayama is the 13 car of Sun Jun as they move in with 19 there. That's Nakayama. So Kissel's in front of Nakayama. Alex Jung's making a move there as well. He's got in front of Nakayama as they now come to complete another lap.
How was that for a crossover by the reigning champion? He's just in a watching brief. He knows what's going on. These 2 young guys from KCMG really pushing hard. Of course, the other driver in that team, Martin Rump, is currently comfortably leading this field. 1.5 seconds up now on 2012 champion Marci Li. Rahul Frey, as you say, position number 3 from Jan Kisiel, who we see him just ahead there of his teammate and immediately in front of Alex Jung. Nakayama's been very, very impressive. Of course, a Formula 3 open wheel star in Japan. He has done some Super Formula, so he's got a lot of experience. And we saw the one part that he still to come to terms with, of course, is the standing start, or the rolling start as it was that time. He's done a lot of standing starts. We'll see that later this afternoon. But the rolling start really caught him out. Now, that is one of the... that's Mark Chung, who is making his debut here in, that would have been the ex-Jeffrey Lee car. Because Jeffrey Lee's running around in position number 11 at the moment, immediately behind local hero Frankie Cheng, who's probably struggling a little bit this weekend. He's very surprised with the pace of the car. He thought he'd be a little bit quicker. Certainly Data, he feels he should certainly be up there with the leading pack, but a couple of little niggling issues just trying to get the car sorted. These are all brand new cars. These new second generation cars have been in the country for only a matter of days in all reality before they've hit the track here this weekend. So there's a lot yet to learn for the teams, a lot yet to learn for the drivers, and of course experienced drivers like Alex Young and Marchie Lee, probably no real surprise, Graham, they're running at the front of the field.
And you can already see with this development here of the Audi R8 LMS Cup with no push to pass, the drivers really are having to work on the track craft, trying to pull in that extra seconds to get in front of the other cars, to drag down this long straight here, 1.2 kilometers. It makes the driving a bigger test for these pro drivers, as there you can see Jan Kissel from Poland is in front of Alex Young. That's a battle for P4, P5. Right there, Alessandro Piccarello. Just, he just got spans there, Nakayama. That was a little bit naughty by Piccarello. He seemed to knock on Nakayama's door. Nakayama opened up the door, and then Piccarello just mucked him, I think.
Well, that's always going to happen because this is just so close and so tight, and these young guys are really keen to push on and make an impression. It's one of the things that the veteran drivers had been talking about, certainly in drivers' briefing, that maybe the young guys might want to just take it easy because there's a long season ahead, and these GT cars with all this aerodynamic efficiency, they've got things like dive panes or canards on the corner of the front of the car. You touch those, they fall off. That has a huge impact on lap time. So whilst you see them banging doors, they really don't want to bend any of the corners of the car or make contact with any of the carbon fibre parts that are very, very integral in the speed that these cars generate. So you'll see a lot of the experienced drivers tend to back out of an incident that they see might be coming, whereas some of the young guys really want to get in there and push the point. So, well, we've seen it just there unfold, and unfortunately for Nakayama, as we say, there's been a lot of rain here the last couple of days, and just running a couple of wheels off into the grass was enough to send him around and around and around. But up front, Martin Rump, he's going to be watching the rear vision mirror because Marchie Lee's dropped that down a couple of tenths. They're into the 2:04s. In fact, Rahel Frey quickest on track last time round, 2:04.31. So it's about a second quicker than the pole time from qualifying here with the Generation 1 car last year.
So the podium is covered by 2.3 seconds. Martin Rump is 1.2 ahead of Marchie Lee, and Marchie is now 1.1 in front of Rahel Frey. And then Jan Kissel is keeping everyone else at bay. Alex Young's 5th, Piccarello's 6th, Aditya Patel 7th, KOU 8th, Frankie Chen 9th, Jeffrey Lee 10th. That's your top 10 as they'll be completing their 4th lap here in the Audi R8 LMS Cup. New car, just the same high octane excitement already. The drivers using their cars like Dodgem cars, muscling their way through. This is what petrolheads want to see, real hard contact.
I don't know, I'd call myself a petrolhead. I'm just a motorsport fan. Why do they have to label us petrolheads? Anyway, the racing has been fantastic. We weren't quite sure what to expect, and we've seen some really good competition so far. We've probably seen a couple of the things we may have expected if we were going to predict an outcome for this weekend. The experienced drivers running at the front. Drivers like Martin Rump, very, very intelligent. We saw him do very well in Formula Masters China Series last year. That won him the championship. We saw him in his debut here last year at Shanghai, finish in the top 5 twice. So he's a very talented young driver. We also saw a probably expected contact between some of the younger drivers and some of the more experienced veterans trying to hold their line. But it's been great to watch so far. We're going to see more of this action. Jan Kisiel, the young Polish driver, on screen, and that's a move by Picciarello. Alessio's been drafted into this series very much last minute with the Absolute team, and we've seen him be a bit of a star. He's had a lot of experience now with the Audi, and I say a lot of experience in relative terms compared to some of these other younger drivers. The end of last season, he drove the Audi R8 for Absolute on a couple of occasions. We saw him here too with Martin Rump. The two of them battled very hard here at Shanghai at the close of the 2015 season, and we're getting more of that action this time around. Now that's Alex Young. You can see the gap in front of him. In fact, that's quite large now. It's out to 7 seconds between he and Rahel Frey. And that's what happens when you're battling for position. Whilst you're focusing on protecting your line, the 17 car, that's Mark Chung, he's off again. Unfortunately, that's the Audi Chinese Taipei AM class car. And his points in the Masters Cup 2 will take a flogging after that. That's not what he wanted, but there you have it. Martin Rump, car 18, leading Marchie Lee and Rahel Frey. And that's a very big margin now, back to fourth placed Alex Young as he battles to stay in front of these young chargers, including Aditya Patel. KOU a good run, and there's Frankie Cheng on the back of the train now, looking to try and get position. But this could bring out a safety car. This might be an interesting point.
And I think Picarello just went past Jan Cassel as well. So 5 laps are in the books. Martin Rump is still leading from Marchie Lee. Rahel Frey's cut the deficit between herself and Marchie Lee down to about 0.9. It looks a bit closer there as Marchie Lee tiptoes through the yin-yang section here. 4th is Alex Young. 5th is Alessio Picarello. Now, Alessio Picarello, is he on the charge? Because will the stewards have a look at his little contretemps with Nakayama, and will he be penalised?
Well, that's something he has to take into consideration. You see Mark Chum on the inside. That's down the end of the circuit, turn 13. No, in fact, that's further back. That might be turn 6 that he's come off. They will be looking at that, I guess, and there's every chance, Graham, as you say, that he will be given some level of penalty. But that's what happens sometimes. If it's judged as an accident, and that can happen, the drivers dive in to the same piece of real estate looking for the apex and contact happens. You just don't know what the conditions are. These cars all have cameras in them now, so one of the things the stewards will do post-race is take all the onboard footage. They'll also look at the data, compare it from different angles, and also ask the corner marshals what they saw, put all that into an equation of some description and make some sort of judgment. So maybe Alessio will be okay. You can't blame him for pushing. He's certainly still doing that now, but interesting to see that the pace of the guys at the front of the race who pretty much got through into those positions on the opening lap, they've been able to just punch out consistent laps. They're doing 204.8, 204.7, 204.2. The pack behind them are in the high 205s, but they've torn up their rubber a little bit in battling for position. Now that we don't have things like push to pass to give you that additional 50 horsepower boost, as it did last year for 10 seconds, they could push the button, find a bit more power. This is just pure racing. There's no way they can suddenly find an extra second or 2 seconds a lap to breach a large gap. So they have to be doing it based on the sheer performance of the car. Tyres are something that do have an effect on your car. Brand new tyres can be as much as, at times, 2 seconds a lap faster than a worn set of tyres, and they can wear quite quickly. Audi R8 LMS Cup has 2 sets of tyres for these cars to use from opening qualifying through to the end of the second race. The benefit for them this weekend is it rained right through qualifying. They didn't use their slick tyres, so they'll start both races with new tyres. But if you give them a hammering over the opening laps, as we saw, a lot of contact, a lot of battling for position, you're going to tear them up. And I think that's what we're seeing now. The gap between Alex Young now and Rahel Frey is out to 8.6 seconds. But the smart drivers like Rahel Frey and Marchie Lee, who haven't been involved in that, are conserving their rubber. They're waiting to be able to make an assault on Martin Rump's lead. But we don't know what he's got in store either. He might just be keeping it cool, let the temperatures settle, let the car settle, let the others catch him. They have to get past him. And he might have a little bit extra to be able to push ahead as we get into the closing laps, but that's still halfway away.
So wherever you are around the world, whether you're watching us on satellite or through global internet streaming, we're halfway through this exciting Audi R8 LMS Cup, the first race of a brand new season. And Alessio Picarello, he had the fastest lap here at 204.8. He's in current 5th position. He sees Alex Young right up there in 4th place. He knows that he may be asked to have a little bit of an afternoon tea with the stewards after the race, so he has to get as many places as possible. If he just gets penalised, maybe they may penalise him for the next race. We'll have to find that out later on. Marchie Lee just stepping out, trying to see where Martin Rump is going to break, and now Marshall Lee's going to try and do a little nudge. Martin Rump's under pressure here. Can he hold it together? Now, can Marshall Lee get in the slipstream to go down this long home straight? It's about 700 metres that Martin Rump has to defend here. Rahul Fry will be watching intently in third position as they go over the start-finish line. Just 0.4 of a second. That's the gap between Martin Rump and Mark G. Lee in fourth place. As I go past, we look out our commentary box here, and in fourth place is still Alex Young, but he's only half a second behind Alessio Piccarello from Yankasel, Aditya Patel, KOU, Frankie Cheng still in ninth place, Jeff Lee's in 10th.
I think one thing we saw last year in the Formula Masters China Series, Martin Rump was very dominant early in the season. Picariello turned up mid-season and started to dominate things, but that doesn't say to me necessarily that Martin Rump wasn't at the level that Picariello was. What that says to me is he was smart enough to know that if he battled this guy, he had the championship in the bag. If he was just consistent and strong, then he would be the champion, and he's the champion. What's the record Brooks going to remember? Is he going to remember a guy that came in halfway through the season and won a few races, or is he going to remember the champion? The point with that, of course, is he's a smart driver. So whilst Marchie Lee's tooting his horn, giving him a beep on the back bumper, he knows that if push comes to shove, points are important for a championship. He may well let Marchie through. He's not going to make it easy. Why would you make it easy? But we don't know that he hasn't got something in reserve. Just in this last lap, he seems to have just eked out, coming down now to down to turn 11. You can see he's just gained a little bit that lap on Marchie. So he might have a little bit in reserve. Still, we have about 6 laps to go. So there's a fair distance still under our belts to cover. And of course, the other thing they've got to think about is Rahul Frey sitting there in position number 3. So long way from over, Graham.
And also, Alex Young, does he just sit back and rest and protect his car for the second race? Does he really want to flog the car to cut down an 8.7 gap when all the top 3 are going to have extra ballast for the second race? So he's at an advantage here by finishing 4th. He'll have 0 handicap for the next race, which then could make him a good favourite for a race in a couple of hours.
Absolutely it could, and I mean carrying 50 kilograms the race winner in this race, the next race, that's quite significant. 35 for the second place finisher, 20 for the third place finisher, and he knows that better than anyone. I mean, he's won 17 races in 4 seasons of the Audi R8 LMS Cup. He knows the strategy. So you're right, there's nothing to prove in trying to breach a gap of 8 seconds to Rahul Frey. There's not enough time, there's not any need. The one thing he'll be focusing on is just staying ahead of Alessio, finishing in position 4, taking the good starting position. The other thing they've got to focus on, of course, is top times for qualifying, set the positions for race 2, is based on the fastest lap times from this race. So at the moment, looks like it's at 2:05.1. The fastest times were 2:04s. 2:04.2. Rahul Frey currently holds position number 1 on the grid for the second race, ahead of Marchie Lee and Martin Rump. Picciarello's right in there too with a 2:04.8, so he would start again on the second row. Alex, if he's going to try something, he would really put some effort into going for a quick lap late in the race and improve his position. But again, he doesn't have the weight. The people that we mentioned ahead of him, apart from Picariello, who's immediately behind him, are going to be carrying a weight penalty, and that makes a big difference. We've seen that from the standing start, getting that mass off the line, and that's where he could get the advantage, and that'll play, as you say, well into his hands.
And if you ever wanted to see whether these drivers really want this title, then Marchie Lee just going into the carousel with Martin Rupp, he was really close there, almost touching, and down they come, and of course Rahul Fry in third position. She's 1 second behind Marchie Lee, so maybe she's just thinking about her second race in a couple of hours as well. But Marchie Lee's right up close now with Martin Rump. He knows he's got about 10 minutes, 5 laps to just psych out Martin Rump. But Martin Rump, the Estonian, he's got ice running through his veins. He knows what to do. He had a great qualifying Super Pole, and is showing Marchie Lee, former champion, how good he is with Rahul Fry, just still about 1.1 behind Marchie Lee, just watching the front 2 in action. Alex Young is a solid 4th from Alessio Piccarello. In fact, Alex Young's done his fastest lap there. He's done a 2:05.1, so he is aware of how race 2's grid will be lining up. So a lot of these cars now will be thinking about putting in fast laps to push themselves up the grid for race number 2.
Because not just outright, we've got the AM Cup, and currently leading the AM Cup. It's a good battle, but Jeffrey Lead, a veteran of this series, he's done a lot of racing, certainly in Audis over many, many years in Asia, a multiple race winner at many levels, including the Audi Cup. He is leading the AM class. In fact, it's a good battle back there. Jeffrey Lee's position 11 now. Johnson Huang, who we were talking about earlier, is very quick during the wet practice and even into qualifying. Position 12, and Sun Jingzhu is in position number 3 in the AM Cup. And it appears like it's Kevin Chen who is also running in one of the Chinese Taipei cars, the J-Fly-by Absolute racing car, is leading the Masters Cup for the first generation cars. Of course, we saw Rick Chung had spun earlier. He's still stranded a little bit further down the track. In fact, that wasn't Rick. To make an apology, it was Mark Chung who's stranded down there at turn number 11. So that's the positions for the various different categories as we see these race leaders continue on. 4 laps to go, clock's ticking. Times are still pretty good, but moved now from the high 204s into the mid 205s. So pace is interesting. And Alex Jung looks now like he's got ahead of Alessio, and he may well be on the lap that we were talking about, trying to set a time for the start of race 2 with a standing start, and he'd really like to be off the front row. That would be the ideal position.
So there's Aditya Patel and KOU. That's the battle for P7 and P8. And Aditya Patel, I was talking to him actually down in the pit lane, and he was excited for this season. And of course, representing India. I'm sure if you're watching it in India in www.audi-lmscup.com, you'll be shouting out Jai Ho Aditya Patel. And if you are new to the series, go to that website, audi-lmscup.com. All the features. Fantastic website through the season. You can keep abreast of what is happening with these new cars and all these new drivers as well.
And of course, get involved in the conversation. That's the beauty of social media. You can ask us things that you'd like to hear, things that we can talk about in commentary, things that we can find out from the drivers. You might have a question you want of Marchie Lee about his new bathing ape sponsorship, and certainly where you can buy the product. It's pretty cool looking stuff. He's got some very good looking car liveries this year, and one of them is currently monstering Martin Rump at the front of this field. So whether you are online watching us through the live stream, or whether you are getting feeds through the various different social media outlets, from Twitter to Youku to Weibo to WeChat, keep into the conversation, and we'll do our very best across the year to keep you updated.
So they move up to the carousel, and Marchali is really close now to Martin Ram. There's Aditya Patel for India against KOU. Dare I say, KOU's in top gear for Korea. He's one of the presenters on the massive show. I'm sure if he walks down Seoul, is instantly recognisable, KOU. And Rahul Fry's getting close to Marchali now. She's just trying to find a line to get past that big bathing. Is it bathing or bathing?
Bathing ape.
Bathing?
Yeah. English is such a strange language. Anyway, it's the bathing ape Audi.
Bathing,
yeah.
Is it bathing or bathing?
And he's doing everything he can to protect his line, and you can see now what that's done is that's freed up Martin Rump to just extend the advantage a little bit more, because he's gone from attack to defence. That's not going to help him. That's not going to help his tyre life. That's not going to help his position. He really wants to be focusing on the job at the front, but he can't now. He's got to switch to protecting from Rahel, and you can see the drive she got as she came out of turn 14 down to turn 16. Marchi was smart enough to be able to protect his line, as he is doing now, but he has to be pretty careful, because the Swiss Miss and the Shanghai Mist is coming.
And do you know who's loving this? Martin Rump. Martin Rump is absolutely loving this, because while these two are dogging it out, Martin Rump's getting away. You can just see now he's doing his own little race, and Marchali and Raoul Fry are duking it out, and they are letting Martin Rump go and have clear daylight. He's building up a lead now. So Marchali is in the hot spot. He needs to get past Martin Rump, but now Raoul Fry, she knows she's got like 2 laps, about 5 minutes to go, and she's now turned up the wick on the car, and she's probably protected and nursed the car to the final stages, and now Rahul Fry's on the charge.
Well, as you said with Alex Young, she's also mindful. She's a veteran of this series. She's mindful that she's going to be carrying an additional weight penalty. So playing through her mind too is good points, but wait. So do I take third and then go for the win in the second one because I'm carrying less weight potentially than Marchie and Martin Rump? So all these things come into the equation. Lights flashing now as we see that is the number 26 car. Of course, new liveries this year. That's 16-year-old Jasper Tong on his debut here for the Phoenix Racing Asia team. His teammate, Marchie Lee's not too far behind him, and he still has Rahel Frey looking all over the back of his car trying to find a way through. It's not over yet. There's 2 laps to go. Martin Rump now has a comfortable lead. It's going to be out to close to a second now as Jasper Tong moves to the outside of the circuit to allow the race leaders to come through. And for a 16-year-old, this is a pretty great way to start your racing year.
So can Rahel Frey find her way past Marchie Lee? Now, this is going to be interesting. Was the last lap flag pulled out there? This is the final lap, so it's now or never for Rahel Frey. Oh, and Rahel's seen a bit of daylight. Can she just get past Marchie Lee? Marchie had the racing line there. Martin Rump can see this all in his rear view mirror and absolutely loving it. Because while these two are battling it out, their lap times will suffer, and Martin Rump just got to keep it on the black stuff, and he'll be getting his 25 points.
One thing that Rahel Frey knows only too well, as do you, after watching this for 4 seasons, is the most difficult person to overtake in the Audi R8 LMS Cup is immediately ahead of her. So while she knows that she could take the move, she also knows it has to be clean. She has to be able to get up alongside Marchie and make sure it's stuck in. And this might be her last opportunity because there's one more at turn 14. But down here to turn 11, she might be able to take it. No, Marchie's kept it. She's going to have a quick look up the inside. She looks like she's got a little bit better grip than Marchie. And good drive here through the carousel, and then that long 1.17 kilometre straight down to turn 14. She may well be able to make an attack under brakes. As you see, Marchie protecting the inside. This is a great run. It's not over yet.
So down the boulevard of broken dreams, can Rahel Frey get past Marchie Lee? She's drafting, she's getting closer to the bumper, she pulls out, it's all down to braking here. Can Rahel get behind? Marchie Lee just at the inside line there. She tries to cut again. Martin Rump's now coming round the final corner. Rahel Frey's not giving up though. Here's a better, that's a sweet move there by Rahel. The checker flag's out, it's a dash for the cash, and Martin Rump wins round 1 of the Audi LMS Cup. It's a photo finish between Rahel Frey and Marchie Lee. That was a well done there by Rahel Frey, and just misses by 0.06 of a second. Rahel Frey, that was a gallant effort there, but finally Martin Rump collects the points. Marchie Lee wins in second place. Poor Rahel Frey just misses out that second spot by 0.064 of a second. Alex Young, the double champion, is in 4th. Alessio Picarello's in 5th. Jan Cassell 6th. Aditya Patel 7th. KOU is 8th. Frankie Chen is 9th. Yuki Nakayama is 10th. I think Yuki Nakayama may be having a word with the stewards when he gets out of the car. And that's your top 10, with Jeffrey Lee finishing in 11th.
6/100ths of a second. You can't get much closer than that. And good drive for Rahel Frey through the last corner to pull alongside Marchie. He tried to protect. In the end, he knew she was there. He gave her a little bit of racing room. She did everything she could to try and get that position back. 6/100ths of a second. There they are on screen, the leaders. But Alex Young really put down some impressive lap times towards the end of that session. 2:05.1. That won't improve his position. In fact, he'll drop back to the 3rd row for the start of the second race. We will see. Rahel Frey will be the likely pole sitter because this is all provisional at this stage, as are the race results. They are yet to be approved by the race director. Once that is done and the stewards, they will be issued, but provisional at this stage. And again, we're talking 2:04.2 will give Rahel Frey position number 1 for the second race. Alongside her on the grid, Marchie Lee. So the battle will continue, but again, they are carrying a weight penalty by virtue of finishing on the podium in this race. Martin Rump will start from row 2. He will carry a 50 kilogram additional weight penalty. Rahel Frey, by finishing 3rd, will have 25, and 20 rather, and 35 kilograms to Marchi Lee. They will be your first 3 starters in this race. So there you have it. Martin Rump, Marchi Lee, Rahul Frey, Alex Jung, Alessio Picariello, Jan Kisiel, Aditya Patel, position number 7. The winner here last time out at the end of the 2015 season. KOU in position number 8 from Frankie Cheng, the local hero. And Yuichi Nakayama, after that lurid spin down at turn number 13, turn 15, has come through to finish in position number 10.
So as we wait for the drivers to come in pit lane, I'm sure Martin Rump is going to be very, very happy as he parks the car. And Rahul Frey, that was a really good drive for the P2. Rene congratulates Martin Rump on his victory. He had a great qualifying super pole, and he's finished off with the 25 points for the victory, round 1. I'm sure Rahul Frey is delighted with her drive, but just missing out by 0.06 of a second just goes to show you how competitive this series is. And we've still got another race today in a couple of hours, and then we've got 5 more rounds. If you're in Thailand, come to Buriram the weekend of the 23rd, 24th of July. Then we're in Alex Jung's backyard of Sepang, KL, Malaysia, on August the 13th and 14th. We're off to Korea. We go down to the south of Korea for September the 24th, 25th. Penbay, not Wales, but we're actually Taiwan on October the 15th and 16th. And then we're back here for the final round. We'll be crowning the 26th champion on the weekend of November the 4th and 5th. Of course, we've got a fantastic website. You can keep up to date all through the season with this Audi R8 LMS Cup. And we'll be having highlights on Fox Sports. So make sure you watch that through the series as well. So we're just waiting for Martin Rump just to catch a breather, and now Sophie is with the winner of round 1, Martin Rump of Estonia.
Hi, Martin, congratulations for the win. And I watch your daddy is quite nervous watching you in the pit lane. So talk about your first maiden victory here in Shanghai.
Thank you, Sophie. I think my father is nervous, but my mother at home is more nervous. So I think, we turned out well. After a good start, I got some consistency. The car felt quite amazing, so I got some decent, consistent lap times in and kept Marchi off my back. So I think, we need to look forward to the next race now.
Thank you so much, Martin, and prepare for the race this afternoon. And back to our commentator.
Thank you, Sophie. We did say in commentary that Martin Rump, he has always finished well here. He had 2 races around this circuit previously, and he did finish 5th twice. And by qualifying on pole, that allowed him to just take control of the whole track and drive the race that he wanted. Okay, he was pressurised by Marchi Lee in the latter stages, but held his nerve and got the 25 points. So now we'll find out how the bathing ape came second. Marchi Lee is with Sophie.
Marchi, great car and great start for you from 5th to the second place. So talk about your first race here in Shanghai.
It's good, we finished second, and qualify was a bit quite surprised us, but we come up second.